All right, live again. Hello,
Live.
everyone out there in Twitchverse. We are back for another exciting adventure in Voyage of the Fallen Star. Our crew has just uh, taken their first sort of voyage in their new ship that they had to fight off some pirates in the last couple sessions to hold on to, and now they are headed towards a group of islands called the Blazing Isles, uh, named for their volcanic nature. They just spent a week sort of doing some downtime, right, getting to know the ship a little better, getting accustomed to their duties, uh, and per that little tidbit, um, here is just for everyone's information at home, the ship sheet. Oh, looks like I need to do a little more color matching there. Anyway, so we have the ship sheet where it shows the Cerulean Wind, the current name of this double-masted schooner, as well as our ship roles for each of the players here, color coded. So as just looking at the sheet, right? If it ever pops up again, you have Bungo as the bosun, so he's in charge of all the hit points kind of stuff that's going on, as well as in charge of the rowboats that are part of the ship. Makes sense. Um, the mage Varanus, in charge of the cargo, the sort of overall cargo capacity of the ship, as well as the food and drink stores. Given his sharp mind, thought that would be appropriate. Sweets, our resident surgeon, is in charge of the medical stores as well as just general supplies. Kylum is the first mate, and he is in charge of the ballista or other weapons that the ship might gain over time. And lastly, Captain O'Marin has the purse strings of the vessel, so he has to make sure the vessel's making enough income to pay all the crew and keep her in repair. Um, so how about let's start with Kylum. Mark, how's it going today?
Hey, yeah, Mark, playing Kylum. Happy to be back on the stream. Happy to be back with the crew. Looking forward to our first big seafaring adventure.
Huzzah! Yes. This adventure arc, right? It's all about being on the Great Sea, which you could
Yeah.
see in the map from on the other screen. You could see this map behind you is the Great Sea, so our adventurers will voyage all over this here map.
And see what's so great about it.
It's pretty large, I think. That's the thing. Well, if Bungo has something to say, he can be up next.
I think we'll make it great again.
Or, what up, Twitch? It's your boy, Bungo Barleybrook. Very excited to be playing this week, as I have a new musical instrument with which to embellish my stories with. It'll be very exciting to bring that into my performance retinue. Carved out of the finest dragon bone, as of course any bard's flute worth his salt is made out of a dragon bone or some similar creature. So yeah, I'm just excited to be here, excited to be a boss.
Wonderful. Shad playing Varanus. What's up?
Hello, everyone. It is me, Chad. I am playing Varanus, the gold dragonborn new wizard with who was in fact really trained more to be a fighter. I'm doing great. I'm excited for this as well. We're hitting the high seas. Last session, I felt was a nice big reveal for Varanus. He, showed or really discovered the ability to summon using a bit of band type magic, some necromantic magic, to summon some of his fallen ancestors, which have now become his new crewmates. He's got high hopes that this could all be a poetic sort of fulfillment of a voyage that failed before, but we shall see how it plays out.
Very nice. And Sweets, the doctor.
The Doctor. Hi, I'm Blake. I play Sweetness, the fastidious, ever anxious, abundantly curious ship surgeon. I'm well. I think Sweetness is also well after their sort of close call getting out of the harbor, and just the general I don't know, hubbub that they had been sort of raising in the city, the various challenges they'd been facing. I think he's very, very glad to be back on the high seas, where I think he feels most at home and most comfortable going out seafaring and adventuring. And yeah, I think he's very eager to see what the adventure brings.
Absolutely. And Captain of the Cerulean Wind, we have Omarin, played by Austin.
It feels good to have a proper ship again.
Did Omarin formerly have a proper ship?
Well, yeah, well, of course, yes.
He's
But
400 years old.
yeah, yes, back on the island, but I don't.
Yeah.
Omar doesn't trust you well enough to get the full
Mm.
backstory. That'll come at a dramatically appropriate
Yeah.
time.
We'll get him drunk, and one day he'll be like, back in the year
Well.
5.
Excellent. So, yes, let's get some
Music.
Let's get some music. Yeah, open
Oh, I just,
ocean.
conjured up that of what is it, Sebastian in The Little Mermaid being like strings, and now, now you see her. You know.
I guess I need to turn it up. I'm not getting it here, so I need to turn it up and roll 20, I suppose.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh,
So
some
the
ocean sounds would be nice too.
there should
Just
be in
motion
there.
there.
There are.
Oh,
Okay.
I couldn't hear it.
So yes, the Cerulean Wind, guided
Oh,
by a strong breeze, herself steaming westward across the Great Sea. Again, yes, you've taken about a week, right, in between the Greenwold, right, the main continent of this setting, and yeah, have steamed westward towards the Blazing Isles. And so as you guys have been going around your duties, right, learning the ship. Oh, my server connection just got reset, so hopefully we're okay. Let's move you all over to the ocean.
The ocean?
Yes.
That's where the fish live.
Don't you mean
that
the
is-
Great Sea?
Well, I meant the ocean.
what's an ocean?
The OKC.
Who's ocean?
See if you can get a DC 1 nature check to know what an ocean is.
All right. So, yes, we have the Cerulean Wind, both the below decks and above decks portion. And you notice that Hal has been making himself at home below decks, and he now has his own little quarters, which includes, the navigation equipment. So if anyone's interested in working on navigation in the future, Hal has made space available for that. And in addition, right, you have the 3 other mundane crew members that were hired by Corvisa. And so she, just to remind our audience viewers, she was the contact from the merchant princes, or merchant princess herself. And in order to get you on your way quickly and avoid potential enemies among the princes, she had sent a bunch of deckhands that she hired to help you out, though several died during Captain Catapult's pirate raid on your ship. And so all that is left are Gilbert Saltwick and two other mates. And so, yes, Gilbert comes around, especially to you, Kylum, because you've been, working all around the ship, right? Trying to really get to know this larger sailing vessel than kind of you've been used to anyway, as well as helping out the crew wherever they need. So Gilbert has taken a liking to you, and he sort of sees you as the crew's representative, to the captain, right? The crew's gonna come to you, led by, or represented by Gilbert, right? And so yeah, Gilbert's like, Kylum, we notice there's something a little odd about you. Not the armor thing, but
but it's
also
very normal
that.
where I come from.
yeah, you seem to wield a lot of this powerful godly magic. Are you in service to some deity?
I just, take out my rapier and I look at it, and I was sort of think about how to answer that. I'm not a holy man or anything, Gilbert. Just an adventurer out here at sea. But it seems that there are some gods who have taken interest in what we're up to here.
I see. Well, I guess to each their own, right? You're gonna keep us safe from all sorts of. And he looks warily around, creepies, right? The demons, the devils, the undead, dead things.
Of course, Gilbert, have faith.
I mean, easy for you to say.
In what?
Or who? Damn it!
Yeah, who?
And so Gilbert is echoing something that Hal Hawkshaw had brought up or dealt with at the end of last time, in that Varanus's, phantom crew is the undead spirits of his dragon ancestors. And since necromancy is such a taboo mystic art in this setting, it's very off-putting for people to be in close proximity to any of that.
Sure, very
Yeah.
understandable.
It is understandable, it's like, I guess he's that kind of, right when he learned magic, he went straight to the forbidden, I just,
Right out of the gate.
I didn't learn magic missile, I learned summon a dead relatives. So yes, not your typical mage, and I think you see reflected in Varanus's face an understanding and acknowledgement of this kind of reaction. He he doesn't go out of his way to try to mend these bridges yet. He sort of gets it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it seems, of course, the crew is nervous, but they're not going to, they're not gonna. They're gonna go with the captain, right? That's the rule, right? Everyone obeys the
As long
captain.
as he's paying, right?
Well,
Yeah.
of course, yes.
Well, that's what we want in a cruise, so good on them.
Excellent work.
Yeah.
No, I think everybody can learn to adjust, and things that are strange to you today won't seem so strange after a few weeks. It's just about getting past that first adjustment period, and hopefully nothing bad happens.
Yeah,
I'm
hopefully.
sure it
last part
won't.
is optional.
Well, Kylam, you've got our back, right? If something bad does happen, right?
Of course I do. I'm here to protect all seafarers. The living, I guess, get top priority on that front. But fear not, for these are the spirits of departed warriors, noble souls, who have given their lives in pursuit of great causes, and these are not like the cursed zombies raised to ravage the living. These are great people. We should be proud to be working with such noble spirits.
Well, I suppose when you put it that way, yeah, that makes sense. Uh, and so Gilbert heads back below decks to hubbub with the others to tell them he got your assurances about the safety again, and that you might protect them from these unholy things should the tides turn.
I was
Yeah.
really sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I'll turn undead with the best of them, I guess.
I was only gonna
The best
say,
of them.
yeah, the best. I was only gonna say, Zach, it's really a disappointment that NPC didn't have the voice of the late Gilbert Godfrey. I thought for sure.
God.
Well,
Kyla!
who knows what can happen on the Great Sea. The salt can really go to one's voice box over time.
You just never know.
You never know. So as you guys go about the ship, so we've mentioned everyone has their roles, right? Omarin's captain, Kylam's first mate, Varanus is the mage, Bungo the bosun, Sweetness the surgeon. Does anyone during the daily routines of the ship, does anyone want to be the lookout, right? Does anyone want to be up in the crow's nest, or would you sort of assign that more to one of the mundane crew members?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we should rotate that.
I'm into it for sure.
Yeah, we gotta rotate.
I'm
The
down for
eyes-
sharing
I'm-
with
well,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's hard.
Begrudging.
Well, in that case, I'll roll a d5 to determine who is on watch. 5. Omarin, the captain,
D5.
is taking his turn in the crow's nest.
The captain.
That says a lot that he would.
Yes.
I mean, Omarin has to go up there to read the portents and check the weather. Well, he's
Right.
up there, he'll give you guys a little break, because he does have the sharpest elf eyes.
It's true, yes. And in fact, yeah, during this week-long
That's just
voyage,
what you should captain from the ship from
What?
just up there.
Why are your elf eyes sharper than mine? I don't get it.
because he's
But
Your
wiser
field
than
of
yours.
vision is limited to this,
Yeah, exactly.
which raises some concerns about the ballista.
Well, it doesn't mean he's gonna fire the ballista. He's just in
Seas
charge
are very
of it.
flat. It'll be great.
I,
See all I got.
no, in your periphery.
So yeah, Omarin, when you're up there, you catch the first wisps of gray smoke on the horizon, indicating the blazing isles are ahead.
Are we on course?
Oh yes, for sure. During this past week, yeah, you've been paying special attention to the weather, right? The portents.
Yay.
And you did an extremely good job. So you basically, unless unforeseen, events happen, at least as far as the natural weather goes, you predict that you charted a course really well, and you'll be able to navigate the Blazing Isles without running afoul of any terrible storms or anything like that. So you see, yes, this gray wisps of smoke on the edge of the horizon, even before you see land yet. And you can tell, right? The Blazing Islands, they definitely still have active volcanoes making up their little grouping. Um, do you do any? You say, yeah, you're on course. Any orders for the ship at this
No,
point?
I just think we would keep an extra special lookout now that we're getting closer to land, and we definitely don't want to make landfall at night. So if it seems like we would, we'll sort of slow down and hold off until.
Yeah. Well, it's still it's only the early afternoon at this point. So yeah, as long as the wind keeps up, you should be able to make the Blazing Isles before
By
dark.
night?
She's a
I
quick
have
ship.
an idea. Hell yeah. I have an idea that we're talking about reading the portents. It just made me think. I have. Remind me, Zach. I
Yes.
copied the spell scroll of augury.
Right.
So I now have it, but I can't cast it because I don't have second level spell slots yet. Could I still use the scroll, or does the scroll get destroyed when I copy it?
I tend to say that the scroll. No, I think you can still use it.
Well, I was just gonna say I could use that to then help us read some signs about what time we want to approach or something like that. So I think I probably just make my way to the captain, and I have like, what is it? The crystal rune stones, which are the material component, and I just approach Omarin and say, "If you wish, we could interpret the signs about how best to approach, Captain."
Omarin says, "I agree," and he takes from you the crystal and casts an augury.
Sweetness walks by and overhears and is like,
You don't approve of these.
He's taking a barometric reading. You know?
Yeah, a man of science who doesn't, I guess.
He just thinks magic is must be another natural, phenomenon in the world. Understandable in scientific, terms.
So it is restricted to only the next 30 minutes.
Okay, we would probably want to do this. I don't know if we can. Basically, once we think we're within
getting close enough,
we see land, right?
For sure.
Yes, once it feels like
Sweetness has a question, and maybe it just comes up. Who has the compass?
Bungo has the compass.
Bungo
right?
has the compass. So maybe I would. So we know that we're getting closer to the Blazing Isles. Are we close enough that we can see them? I'm just starting to wonder if the compass would start to vary. As we get closer.
I've definitely been keeping an eye on the compass and making sure that Magnus is satisfied with its safety and everything. So has it been facing
petting it sometimes over the corner?
Is it like pointing the direction the ship is pointing? If I'm like on the deck.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Marin, do you think you would have? Let me just get out where is the Great Sea map? Do you think you'd sailed into the Blazing Isles from the north or from the south?
Would that be something we can use the augury for?
I suppose. Yeah.
Let me look at the map, Zach.
Sure.
Map, please.
Yeah. Here, I'll.
I feel like naturally we'd be approaching more from the north, right?
If that's the direct course, then yes, we would be coming. It looks like we'd be coming from the northeast.
Yeah.
Yep, we would be coming from east northeast. Pretty much a straight course. Where are the prevailing winds, Zach? That was a joke, trying to answer. We're coming from the northeast.
Right. It's I can roll a d8, but
Because if we tack, no, we're coming from northeast.
All right, so yeah,
and this is why you're the captain.
You're approaching on this course, and you see everyone below, and the compass is reading. It's more or less pointing towards what you can guess the middle of the island. Right. It's hard to tell without doing a whole like circumventing of the islands to get an exact reading. But Omarin, as you're looking, you're watching the smoke on the horizon, but you see a disturbance in the water not far ahead, just a couple 100 feet ahead, and it seems that the water is almost like parting, ahead of your ship and sort of swelling up on two sides.
Can I use some knowledge of nature? I guess it's a survival check.
Well,
see what this might be.
Sure. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do our first crew sailing check.
Oh shit.
Yes. And so this is a special sort of group-based skill check. So at least half of the group needs to pass in order for the whole crew to pass. It's assumed that the sort of normal crew members and the phantom crew are sort of doing the regular operations. But each of the players will also, or most of the players will participate in various ways. So basically, I'm going to start, Omarin sees it first, so why don't you give me, you want to use some sort of check to help identify this phenomena?
Yeah, and I think it would probably be just a survival check, right? That's sort of my generic check about knowing what's happening in the ocean.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Could be worse, could be better.
Let's see now. 10. Well, it definitely doesn't remind you of any normal phenomena. And in fact,
seems non-natural.
It could be, but maybe this close to the Blazing Islands, right? There could be underwater thermal vents that do weird things. Maybe something just Omarin is less familiar with. However, that is a failure on this as part of the group sailing check. Come on, music. No? Alright.
There we go.
Yeah. So next, right? So Omarin sees this. How do you respond now that you can't really identify it?
Look, and then sort of point to it, but also tell the ship to steer basically away from this.
Which way?
Whatever way the winds and the sea suggest would be the easiest to turn away from it.
Why don't you make something up, Omarin?
Okay, perfect. That's a great idea. We are going to turn hard to port.
All right.
Hard to port!
Which one's port?
Left.
All right.
Both have 4 letters. And yes, and I yell to the crew and
I will never forget that, I bet.
Yeah, that's how I've always remembered it.
P-O-R-T-L-E-F-T. And I say, Phantom crew, be ready to drop the sails or raise the sails. There is mischief afloat. Or maybe not.
No, afloat.
All right.
And they're just like,
So because this is a, fairly hard maneuver, you guys are, definitely sailing like at a pretty good pace toward this phenomena that's sparking up. I'm going to call for 2 athletics checks to help manage the ship, right? Raise and lower sails, right? Man the rigging, right? Brace things as the ship is making a harder turn. And you also notice, Omarin, as you're looking, right, there seems to be now a current that's almost pulling you towards this phenomena, whatever it is.
I'll make one of the checks to help man the rigging here.
Could I
Oh God.
I want to mention something.
Yes.
I have an ability here from my crew
Mm-hmm.
called Crazy Ivan.
Yes.
And it says you may convert the magical energy of your phantom crew to unexpectedly move your ship a short distance. And as an action, you dismiss the phantom crew and immediately teleport, a feat equal to 10 times my intelligence bonus. So if it looked like we were about to hit, I think I'm ready to pull the trigger on that if need be.
Well, it doesn't look like it's coming up that quick.
Okay.
But as this phenomena is forming, as these waves are it sort of like almost looks like there's two swells that are rising with sort of a gap in between them. So it's like two parallel swells of waves, just sort of rising in the water.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, for these checks, I should mention, right, if you have, you can suggest, applicable tools or other things like that could be used instead of the check I'm calling for, if you think it's appropriate. So, if you have something, you can mention it and let me know. Also, don't forget story points.
Don't forget those. I imagine Sweetness actually below deck, and sort of as this sharp turn takes place, he's got his, I don't know, all of his stuff is like, he's it out, trying to, keep some of the glass stuff from breaking, and
we're just gonna have to comically keep cutting back to you, trying to like reorganize your desk, and like just as you get things stacked,
I'm like banging on the deck above me with I'm like one. I'll be coming up shortly, but I picture the sharp turn being sort of maybe what alerts him.
So Zach, could I spend a story point to maybe get like a little post advantage on this?
What narrative effect might have just changed the circumstances such that you can get this bonus?
Oh boy.
Maybe the spirit of what's his face shows you how to work a boat better.
Is Magnus a sailor? Does he have any experience?
He's more of a general treasure hunter, but well,
okay, how about this? Yeah. For a second, Bungo's not a big fan of like fighting and like combat and stuff, and I'm very nervous about whatever the fuck is like emerging from the water over here. So I'm just gonna say that he kind of like freezes a little bit. And then Magnus gives him that like treasure hunter, like, hey, we're here for the adventure, all right? Snap out of it, man. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I get back into it.
Excellent. All right, give me another roll.
All right, come on, Bungo. Here we go.
Yes,
all right,
very nice. One success and one failure now. So as Magnus starts like badgering you in your head, right? You Bungo pulls it together, right, and puts a little extra heave into adjusting the sails, and the ship starts groaning under the stress of the sudden maneuver, and as the ship starts to turn, everyone aboard, you now all can see this phenomena, and it's basically like, a certain crimson-colored sea, or crimson sea, was parting in the middle of the ocean. So these huge waves are now, 100-foot tall waves, two of them, paralleling each other with a sort of narrow gap in between. And even though you're starting to maneuver, it looks like you would have to get well out of the way sailing around these things in order to make sure the ship is safe, especially if those waves were to crash down. So they're definitely being
have to, like, shoot the gap here.
Well, that's up to whoever.
Captain,
Or
what do we do?
Perhaps
Go into the waves?
Perhaps we could use this crazy Ivan maneuver and get through them.
Well, that's only gonna teleport your ship, what, 30 feet?
That's like one boat length, right? That's not gonna do it.
Oh yeah, well it would
Could it reorient us though?
It could.
Immediately?
Uh,
That would be pretty big.
Well, the captain would like to know if anyone on this goddamn crew knows what this thing is.
Yeah, I'm confused as to like what's causing this.
Sure.
So, hang on.
Yeah. So you could make me a investigation, perception,
Let's just do perception. Let's just go for
nature.
Imagine I'm staggering onto deck at this point.
that. We'll try to perceive what the origin of this is. 15.
All right. So, for whatever reason, right now, or now that this phenomena is fully formed, this double tidal wave, you also see a small bump starting to rise in the middle, right? Sort of down the gap, right? In the, basically smack dab in the middle between these two waves. A smaller rise is starting to form, but nothing quite so tumultuous as what's being risen on the sides.
I mean, if I looked closely at that, yeah, I have elven eyes too. They're not as good as some people's,
it's
but
true.
Possibly there's I can see what's underneath the water there a little bit.
Sure,
a little
sure.
color, a little shape.
Well, you see we'll call it a unusual concentration of sea life, both plant and animals, like concentrated in that second bump, or in that bump that's forming in the middle.
So it's not like one thing. I'm not getting like, oh, it's a giant sea monster. It's more like there's a bunch of aquatic life there.
But normal aquatic life, and it reminds you of a certain dream you had.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Huh.
And
it's
well, yeah. So Kylum, you're feeling uneasy because, well, that dream was just a dream back that you had in Greyhaven.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, I guess I didn't expect that it would lead to something dangerous. Like, with this stuff, he has like some dangerouser vibes going on here that I'm not really anticipating. Maybe it's not what we think. I don't know. Huh. I mean, if I did a roll, like if somebody else wants to do a roll as well, they might want to jump in now. I'm gonna keep thinking about this.
Yeah. Well, I guess I think that is a good point, right? There's something about this that strikes you as familiar, right?
Yeah.
And I think having, it might not be what you think is maybe appropriate response. So, yes, we need more checks from either.
I've just come on. Yeah. I could do an investigation check. If that would serve.
Sure. Remember, you can also, if you want to assist each other in some ways.
I think until we know what the next, I mean, at least from Sweetness' perspective, yeah. Until I guess we know what the next order is. If we're going to try to, sort of shoot the gap between.
Sure.
These are the waves are moving, or are they just sort
no, they're more just.
Yeah.
The water in the waves is moving, but the waves aren't moving. Right.
They're standing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it the old expertise investigation check.
Very nice. So yeah, as Kylum is sort of pointing out the oddities here, with that concentration of sea life in the middle, now that you're taking a closer look, you're examining, right? You're like, oh, what do I know about the physics of this? You think going on the outside of these waves could be disastrous, because if they do crash down, they're gonna go outward, right, and they could threaten to capsize the ship.
Right now, is that sort of the course that we're on? Would be seeming to veer around?
That was sort of Bungo's maneuver, was starting to move.
I think, sort of in a frantic moment, I sort of turn around and I'm like, don't go around! This is Indiana Jones. I said go between them! I said don't go between them! I just watched that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I think, between them. I yelled to Bungo.
Well, Bungo's already gone. Captain, are you gonna assent to that?
Is there any conceivable way we could stall for a little bit?
I think there's a special order, right, from the order stuff in the Nautical Campaigns Guide that might do that. But right now, momentum is against you.
Okay, then I'm going to say,
drop the anchor.
It's too deep for that. You only live once, kids. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I think Varanus, you're the only one who hasn't contributed here. So yeah. So either you can give me a athletics check to, again, man the rigging, man the sails to get it back on course, or something more appropriate, that if you want to.
Yeah. Well, in the heat of the moment, I guess I just try to quickly assess, does this look like very difficult for me to do here? Do I know I trained my whole life to go on a voyage, and I know a bit about sailing. I'm good at athletics. However, I also could use my crew. But I guess I'm seeing here, it dismisses them to do this.
Correct. Right, so you'd have to resummon them for the day. Yeah.
How about this? I will try the athletics check. I imagine I'm sort of coordinating with them, and we're all just kind of doing this. But I'll roll and make the check, and I'll maybe think about using a story point. As this feels pretty important.
Yeah. Well, since you're
use a story point.
Well, since you're also the last to go, and things are looking pretty dire, Hal comes up. Oh no, actually Hal's at the wheel. So yeah, that's right. So yeah, you could use a story point to.
I think I should.
How does this story point manifest?
I think this story point manifests because the urgency of the moment is so clear. Where it's like, we have to reverse course. We could be in such big trouble, and this is the first time that I'm actually doing a sailing maneuver alongside of my fallen kin again since our failed voyage. So I just think the pressure and the significance of the moment just probes into, just sort of like inspires him, and he's got fierce sort of purpose in his movements.
And don't forget Bungo, if you want to give out any inspiration too. Always have that available.
Right. I forget I can do that outside of combat, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a bonus action, so I wouldn't maybe let you do it.
Sure, I can't
100% willy-nilly.
Spam it out or whatever, but
yeah. All right, excellent. All right, so Varanus, you are working on opposite sides of the ship from Bungo, right? You guys, the ship has gone hard to port, and now you have to careen it back over to starboard to line yourself up with the middle of these waves. But your coordination with your crew makes this makes this a success, and you're able to slide in to the gap. And you now on both sides of the ship, 30 feet from each, from both port and starboard, are these walls of churning water that are over 100 feet high now. But Omarin or Hal yells out from the helm. He's like, "Captain, the ship has slowed itself down."
There's no wind between these two waves, of course. Or is it current?
Well,
I mean, either one would cause it.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the sails still look like they're at least somewhat full of the wind. So, and yeah, as the ship starts slowing down a little bit, Omarin, you are the first to start to see this gigantic figure rising out of the water from that central bump that you had seen before.
Olmo.
I wish, for Silmarillion fans out there. But yeah, and as these two waves must be 300 feet long. So this is 300-foot narrow strait you're passing through, and after the ship has gone around 50 feet, yes, you now see a head and shoulders larger than a storm giant rising from the waves. And Kylum, you do now instantly recognize the figure of Corinas, right? Well, you're not exactly sure what, but this being, this powerful being of water, right? His body is just made completely of water, and you can see all sorts of plant and animal life swimming and floating inside of it. It's got a long beard made of sea foam, and the slight breeze is tousling its kelp-like hair, and it as the ship, the ship just continues to slow down, almost of its own. And when you're roughly 80 feet from this creature, he looks down and starts bringing his massive watery hands together in a slow clap. And it's causing spurts of water to go forth, and he's like, "Very well done. I wasn't sure you would keep your heads about you." And as he says heads, right, his again, more of his torso is lifting just out of the water. And so from waist to head, he must be at least 60 feet.
Do we know who this is?
I think Sweetness is grateful for all the spray from his clapping because he's probably wetting himself. He's happy to be soaked.
Yeah, so as this is the great watery figure is talking, I sort of put my hands out, stretched to my companions to sort of warn them back a little bit.
I had a dream about this guy.
Yeah, I say calm down, everyone. I don't think we're in any danger. Definitely not super sure. Great.
I do a roll to see if I'm assuaged.
Great, Corinas. I see we have passed some sort of test of yours.
Well, test, introduction, Fun on my part, sure, all of the above.
I see. And why do you call upon us here?
Well, perhaps, Kylan, we should introduce ourselves to this mighty being.
Yeah.
And then perhaps we might learn your name, sir. I am Bungo Barleybrook, bosun of this mighty schooner.
Bungo Barleybrook. Rolls off the tongue.
I'm so glad you appreciate that. My parents thought so too.
It is a fine vessel you have. I'm sure it will keep you through many adventures here on the seas. I, as your companion has told you, am Corinas.
Ah. Well, I haven't known Kylan very long, and I didn't want to take him at his word that was your name necessarily. You know, it seemed a little presumptuous. But I guess you guys know each other?
We met briefly in the borders of the plains.
Wow. Does that name ring a bell, his name?
You could make a religion check.
Okay, sure.
I'm making one too.
Anyone. History might be a little more difficult, but sure.
I guess 17.
Oh, wow.
21. Yep.
Very good.
We have some impressively smart people aboard.
We know our history.
Yeah.
We know our religion.
Well, so yeah, as you sort of you guys are sort of whispering to each other, right? Like these little tidbits of information that you know. So let's see, Sweetness. You actually realize that the name Corinas, and I should spell it for you, is actually a Fey origin name.
Ooh.
So
etymologically.
Yes, exactly. You notice that this name has similarities to the Fey tongue. So perhaps it is, some sort of archfey, rather than
archfey. Okay.
Yeah. Rather than
not a god. Just
a god in the traditional sense. Though, of course, you being a very material-oriented person, your knowledge of the other planes might not be quite,
Would I know? Does he have a following in, say, Greyhaven or Slough or any of the cities that I might have been in?
So yeah, that's exactly sort of what you realize with this, is that you've never encountered the faith of this this deity, this archfey before. And in fact, with your such a good success you had, you sort of find it odd, right, that such a deity such a creature would present itself so willingly and not have a following elsewhere.
From my perspective, just like thinking more as like bardic lore or whatever, like have I heard, like, is this like a sailor thing where like sometimes this guy pops up and will grab your ship from time to time? Like, are there stories of this being a thing, or is this like
you've not heard any stories specifically about an event like this, but you have heard, right? You're at some point when you were drinking in some tavern, another sailor was telling old stories, and you have heard of a selective order, right, of beings that guard the waves, right? So perhaps, right, this is one of those beings that's a part, or in fact leads this order.
Interesting. Okay. And they're
Yeah.
sort of just like guardians of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let's see. So Varanus, yes, you got some stuff too. Let's see.
Oh, he's gone.
Well, I'll let him know when he comes back.
What do you want from us? I think maybe Sweetness calls.
I'd initially asked like what,
Sure.
why he called upon us, you know.
Yeah.
So, actually, Varanus, with your check, just to relay a little more information, you remember, or you've heard tell, right, of a sort of great sort of upheaval, or, you know, clash among the planes, or, you know, maybe it's a bit of dragon lore from your prior life. But you remember hearing that way back when an errant portal bridged the Feywild and the Great Sea of the material plane. So there was some sort of weird event that caused the two planes to sort of overlap hundreds of years ago, maybe almost a millennia. So yeah, maybe it's something that you'd overheard as a child, right? In the Aldath, you know, camps and stuff like that, or you know, around the fire kind of thing. So yes, Corvinus looks down at you all, but focuses mostly on Kylam and says, "You are to be sincerely congratulated. I have been keeping tabs on you since you came into possession of that little item that the small one carries. Bungo, that's it.
The compass?
Yes, the compass.
And why are you interested in this compass?
Oh, I'm not interested in the compass. I'm interested in those who have found it.
That's us.
That is a smart one there. Most specifically, this compass portends great changes, upheavals, dangers, but also promise for the Great Sea, of which I am a chief guardian, specifically of those who travel the seas, both above and below. And so, continue.
No, go ahead. Yes.
I have a question. So, are you saying that this compass is the fact that we have it, like, if we fill it, like, if we use this thing, if we follow it, it's going to lead to some great, like, portentous change in the world or in the sea? Is that what you're saying?
Well, always in motion, just like the waves, is the future. But the compass is drawing in such forces, yes.
That's exciting. I mean,
Yes.
we could be part of, like, a monumental part of history.
Yes. Koronos would know. You've seen the world change drastically before, from what tale I've heard.
I was not, well, you might say you might say part, you might say key player in such changes.
I see.
It depends on one's perspective.
Well, from what you've seen of us, since it does sound like you've been keeping tabs on us, as you say, are we worthy in your eyes to continue our quest to use this compass and track down the fallen star?
That is not for me to say. I am not here to judge your worth, or at least all of you. And his tension goes back to Kylum.
I'm just looking at Bungo. I'm just like looking at Rick. I think he's talking about you.
My attention turns to our crewmates who are asking him if he had like a patron or god or not, and I think we're all exchanging a little smirk with one another right now.
You have been valorous, yet not combative, merciful, yet firm, strong, yet supple. The virtues of the sea itself. It was right that the spine of the brine should come to rest in your hands. Become my wave runner, and the strength of the surf will flow through you, though it will take time to find the deeper currents. Will you challenge yourself to grow by protecting this crew and other riders of the waves? Will you be adaptive to your circumstances, unwavering, yet unrigid? Above all, will you respect the sea and curtail those who seek to dominate it?
This is a most noble purpose, and of course, I would serve you if you will join me and if you will assist me in protecting those who travel across the sea.
Thus, it is done. And he holds out, his hand, or he starts moving a giant arm towards the ship, and a ribbon of seawater starts floating through the air and snaking its way towards you, Kylum. And then it starts swirling around you in a little, like sort of 5-foot area around you, splashing a little bit on people nearby. And then it just sort of like all coalesces on you and drops to the ground, and yet, miraculously, you are unwet. Very
Sorry,
good.
that phrasing shouldn't be so funny, but it is.
You're supple but not wet.
This is most pleasing to have a wave runner just like your forebear at my side again, Kylum.
Hell yeah.
And your first, trial, your first trial of growth, we might say, is that, and he raises his other hand, pointing behind him towards the source of the smoke. The ecosystem of this archipelago has been thrown into chaos.
Oh.
Something has fallen here and may have woken the wrath of the elemental spirits who dwell there. Most critically, volcanic instability seems to be on the rise, and I would beseech you to strive to protect the travelers of all types best you can, and prevent catastrophe, if you may.
Certainly. Do we know anything about the nature of what fell that is causing all this?
I do not.
What do you think?
It came from elsewhere with a big E. It is not native to this plane of existence.
Is it a
see.
star?
I do not know. I do not treat with the astral gods.
I see. Well, we then we will continue to this island to find what has corrupted it. So
Corrupted, disturbed the balance, perhaps. Or...
sure. Tomato, tomato.
Very well. Listen to the waves, and you will hear my guiding voice, Kylum. And as he said this, the water and all the creatures that it contains in this thing's body just crashes down into the water, as well as the standing waves. They start to slowly dissipate, slowly lower, as your ship sails past where Carinus had just been standing.
It was nice to meet you.
So does that mean you have acquired a patron?
I guess we'll find out.
That feels pretty clear to me.
Yeah, that seemed pretty patron-like.
Pretty patron.
But
Yeah. With that we're done, the coast is now clear, and I turn to the crew, and I'm like, all right, what are y'all waiting for?
That was... Well, I feel like this journey has just gained a lot. Like, I had a hunch that this was where the action was going to be, but wow. Wow, this story has immediately kicked up to, like, 11. Like, our boat, we've been out of port for, like, I don't even know how many days. And we just had, like an arch semi-god pluck our boat out of the water and, like, bless one of our warriors. Like, this rules.
It's an auspicious start to any travel, to be sure.
Yeah. Unexpected. A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Yeah, the maiden voyage will be a good one. Oi, that was a good omen for sure.
so he just basically commissioned us with a kind of quest, right?
Well, again,
Yeah.
Kylum is the primary
more
agent.
me, but like obviously I want to pressure you guys to help. So
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, as your ship again starts to pick up speed as this ocean phenomena sort of recedes behind you, and Hal's like, well, I guess we seem to be having more speed, Captain. Whatever power that was, it is now behind the boat.
Oh.
Omar
Right.
like vigorously nods and like yes.
Yes. Here we go. So, you continue on course for the Blazing Isles, like moving even faster than your ship's normal speed, but, being freshly sort of out of port, right? She's in tip-top condition. So all the rigging and the ropes, right, are all in good shape. That's not a great one. Come on. Oh, how about that one? And so, in much better time than you even thought, you breach the edge of the Blazing Isles. You see, as land comes into sight, you can see there are, some parts of these islands are just desolate, dark stone, where lava flow must have covered part of the island, and yet other parts are absolutely lush green, as if very tropical jungles are growing, almost side by side with cooled lava fields. And yeah, you start making your way in, mixed with the smell of the salt air, you also get, now much stronger whiffs of sulfur, right? That is continually just filtering into the sky. It doesn't look like any of the volcano plumes in particular is super dark or anything like that. But you suddenly feel, why don't someone give me a D12? Someone just roll me a D12.
Sure.
I got it. Or yeah, go ahead.
Sure, I'll... Uno!
All right.
That usually doesn't bode well.
Well, so as you guys you're closing in on the island, and suddenly a dense fog starts to roll in. So almost as if the island's weather is coming out to greet your ship. Miles away from shore, a dense fog just rolls in. And we are doing another crew sailing check.
Easy peasy.
I need... Yeah. I will need 3 checks for this one. Investigation, perception, and survival. And of course, right, if you guys want to assist each other with some of these, that is fine.
I mean, I'd be happy to take the investigation check just because I'm good at it.
Yeah, if you want to, I could do perception, but if you want to go first, then we'll see how that goes.
That is actually a failure.
All right.
Sweets, you're,
failed investigation check.
Yeah, you got a little cocky, right? With especially after identifying.
For other reasons.
Well, sure. But you were pretty sure of yourself.
I just said I'm the most likely to succeed.
And yet you're just looking at this fog, right? You're trying to get some sort of bearing, right? But now that the fog bank has actually reached the ship, it is dense, it is thick, it is heavy and wet, and you're just like,
I'm not getting anything, guys.
Yeah, you don't know what to do. So, Kylum, you said you want to do a perception?
Yeah, let's see how that goes. $13.
All right. So, Kylum, yes, you are able to cut through, right? Maybe it's Carinus's influence helping you a little bit, for your eyes and your other senses to cut through this fog. You almost feel like when the fog touches your skin, you're almost in contact with everything else in the fog, right? You're just so attuned to this water, right? The water presence over the sea here. And so you're able to, you call out that the ship should head 20 degrees to port. Because you feel like going on your current course, you're gonna run into land pretty quick.
Yeah, I'd shout that out, right? Hopefully the captain is able to act on that.
Sure. All right. Who wants to take the survival check?
I will do that as the captain. And Zach, I would like to spend one of my wild shapes to summon a wild companion, a bird.
Oh.
That's cool.
Just sort of to give me advantage to send out to find the thing.
Nice. What kind of creature do you summon?
A seagull.
All
Very
right.
original.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it is, because how many druids summon
Oh, hang on,
seagulls?
Zach. Never mind. In this case, it's more appropriate that I summon a bagel.
What?
A bagel?
What?
Help me out here.
A bagel, because we're in the bay.
Oh,
So it's been a good campaign. I'm excited to see
yeah,
that Kylam
boy.
threw himself off the ship and drowned.
Yeah.
Just like,
and this is where we start our mutiny, right here and now. That's a cool feature. I like the Zach. Did you design the druid?
Yeah.
Thing
Oh, no,
that-
not that feature. The Wildcat, that was an addition in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
cool
cool.
addition though. Yeah, that's a really nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Really do
so...
think of everything.
Oh, Marin, yes, with your companion, you send this bagel out through the mist. Right, it's able to climb above it, and able to relay some feelings back to you. And so you, do you take the wheel yourself, or do you give instruction to Hal?
No, Amarin would definitely stand like on the bow and sort of feel everything around him. The very sort of furthest out part of the bow strip, and sort of hold on to the front yard.
Yeah,
Sort of like peer into the mist very cinematically, and then yell back to Hal on what to do.
All right, so yeah, you're able to easily start moving the ship closer, closer to the islands, but making sure to stay far enough away that you're going to avoid any reefs or the islands themselves. Wonderful. Let's see. Why can't I find any of my nice music?
Any of your nice what?
Music.
Ah.
I'm going to go back to this one. All right. So yes, with that, you guys pass another crew sailing check, and you're basically able to break through the sort of outermost isles, and now you're sort of making your way into the interior of the blazing isles, and you feel the temperature suddenly starts to increase. The fog breaks again. Maybe burned away by the increasing temperature of these isles. Strange but colorful birds. You can see them flying above the islands and over the sea between them all. And well, how, Varanus, you mentioned you wanted to maybe do an augury or
Yeah, let's
Omarin?
do let's have that augury now and see what that shows us. Shall I click it again, or
Sure.
that might help here? Did that show up?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
And results. So, what's the specific action that you're?
I think.
Specific course of action, I guess. Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking about maybe. In my head initially, I was thinking, our potential approach.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like. Maybe just approaching as soon as possible.
Approaching what? So there's basically, this is a cluster of islands, right? And so
there's multiple.
Yeah, there's multiple islands. The compass is, as you've now breached. Let's why don't we move over to the Great Sea Map, and change that for everyone at home too. So we can, yeah. So, da 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 da. Great sea. Here we are. So right, yes, you guys are all in the Blazing Isles. Yeah. So yeah, there's several large islands, but of course, you know, this is a map, right? There's bunches of smaller islands in between.
Yeah. So how about this? We have the compass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it showing us a very direct approach? Like, I guess I'm just.
Yeah. Well, it's pointing right now. It's pointing southwest.
Okay.
Which is again towards the center of these islands.
So
yeah.
how about could it be basically approaching with a straight direct shot without trying to skirt around, and instead of coming on, basically the specific course of action would be if we just go totally straight and just approach southwest versus trying to maneuver a different entry point to the island. Does approaching one way or the other seem more in our favor or not? If that makes sense.
Yeah, finding a different entrance without sailing through the islands would take a lot more time, right? Because you would have to circumnavigate the islands, right?
Is
to
there
do
a town or settlement here that we know of?
Good question. No one's thought about what they might know about the
I would be
the
happy
Blazing
to
Isles.
do a history check.
Sure, history. Yeah, that sounds good. Anybody else who wants to?
All right. That's what I've got.
Hey.
Nice.
Well, fortunately, Bungo, for some reason your memory is just like having a real fuzz here. Because perhaps you've heard stories that don't make you so eager to be here. Maybe you have a unconscious block, against something. Because Kylum, you recall that the Blazing Isles is currently one of the only known places inhabited by the Drow. Or dark elves, if we're worried about
definitely, that's something that, you know, in my upbringing, people, that's come up a couple of times. That's like, hey, there's dark elves over there. Maybe they don't, you know.
Right. So yeah, basically, with this, you remember stories, right, of the war that basically forced the Drow to flee the mainland.
Right. But I'm not saying both sides are perfect in any of this, right?
Sure. But yes, and it's sort of known that the Drow settled in the Blazing Isles, one, because not many people else want to go there, because it's dangerous. And not, you know, again, natural phenomena, creatures. The Blazing Isles have actually a long history of being settled, or at least inhabited, right, by different cultures. You had clans of lizard folk, you know, even longer back. Elemental spirits and dragons, perhaps. But the Drow have been the ones that have taken residence most recently, and for all everyone knows, they're still there. And the Drow are specifically noted. One of the reasons they were kicked out, driven from the mainland, is their practice of necromancy.
Oh boy, more of this.
No problems there.
Interesting.
Okay. You know, I right now I'm sort of looking for like ambush or something, right? Like, is there? It's a chance that like we should be getting down for like. I'm picturing like arrows coming through the fog and everything, and I'm starting to like warn the crew to be like, "Hey, everybody, let's be careful. This place is kind of dangerous."
Well, fortunately, it's still under the light of day for now, so you know that drow generally don't like to be out and about.
Right.
And I'd say Sweetness, your sort of thinking about what the drow are like and what you've heard of them, you suggest that since drow are very, they fight among themselves as much as they fight other people, so you might guess that their cities or settlements among the Blazing Isles are probably hidden in the underground sort of caverns, right? Volcanic caverns of these islands.
I think if we're all on sort of deck and again trying to discuss what to do, and are we trying to figure out which island we want to approach, or
basically you're trying to navigate the Blazing Isles while also following the general direction of the compass.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think getting back to I'm thinking maybe, I don't know if the wheel or the augury would help, but basically just kind of if we pinpoint a specific island we're thinking of going to first, just see how the results shake out for that, and then maybe.
I do think getting more, the more probably centralized we can get in the islands would put us in the best position. It strikes me,
right?
You know, to
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, navigating towards the center of the islands.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, let's see. So where are you all at in this ship, or on the ship at this point?
Are we we're like in a thick fog?
No, the fog, you sort of came out the other side of the fog. Yeah, and so now you see the islands themselves are sort of raising kind of all around you, but there's definitely miles and miles between each island. But compared to the openness of the sea that you've been on for the past week, this is definitely a lot of land, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Varanus is just in the center, like on deck near where you can access the sails and help, interact with the Phantom crew and stuff like that.
I think Sweetness is probably also on deck. He might be pinning a sketch, perhaps, of the islands as they sort of, loom up before him into his, his little journal.
A bright red bird with purple feathers lands on the railing.
He is delighted and enwrapped, perhaps to the point of if he can, he's grabbing some like little crumbs or something, and as it's, he's like drawing it,
and it starts hopping around like it's very eager. It's not shying away, and you notice that its feathers actually have some sort of almost coating on them. Most birds have like an oily, right, kind of set to their feathers, but this is something else that you've never sort of seen before.
Could I make a kind of check to try to grab and like pluck a feather really quickly?
Yeah, why don't you can give me a nature check.
I'll give you a nature check. Coming in hot. Okay.
All right. Ah, that's really good. Yeah, you're easily able to pluck a feather. It picks up, flies away, and it actually, you notice that it had a strange like extra section on its bill or whatever, and it lets out this really like kind of like almost weird trumpet sound as you startle it. But then you hear echoing ones from the jungles of the nearest forest.
perhaps feeling somewhat ominous, like get attacked by a flock of birds. I think I'll take my feather specimen and pocket it perhaps for that. And then again, I think maybe returning to sketching the isles and
well, I'll say
such.
with the 17 as well, as you sort of look at, maybe sniff the feather a little bit, rub it on your fingers, you're going to guess this bird naturally secretes some sort of flame retardant.
Very cool.
Due to the volcanic activity in the Isles.
Oh, yeah, it's having, I guess, evolved or lived here for a long while.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Someone roll me a d12. Oh, sorry, Chad. What was the specifically augury? What was the augury? Going towards the center.
The most direct approach to the center, sort of. Yeah. What is this unknown in the fog ahead to get there? Is the most direct path one that could breed weal or woe, or perhaps both? Or would it be worth the extra time and effort to go another way?
Wheel, for sure.
Wheel. So I imagine I just look up from the crystal up at Omarin, because earlier we were kind of saying I think we were the ones looking over it, and just give him like a smile and a nod, like, looks like it's full sail ahead. I think he might be muted, but yeah, looks like the captain's good with that. Yes.
All right. Yes. Full sail ahead. Here we go. As Hal turns the wheel. I'll just move this little thing a little more. All right, so you start heading in, deeper into the Blazing Isles, and roll me a d12. Someone.
You know what? I will.
Okay. Do it.
5.
A channel of hot, vaporous steam snakes through the mist, driven by some unnatural wind current. The stirring of ancient spirits. Someone give me an Arcana check.
I'm pretty good at that as well, but I don't want to. I guess
volunteer. This one will require 4 checks. So
I'd be happy to do the Arcana.
So if for 4 checks, right, someone could also assist if they wish. All right, roll that Arcana. Nice.
19.
All right. So yeah, you sort of catch this, as it's moving through the air, it catches your eye, and your tome actually, sort of, you could feel resentment, anger, maybe.
Oh no.
But and so you sort of note that, and your wizard senses sort of tell you, this vapor trail, right, is some sort of elemental effect, specifically probably some fiery elemental effect. Not that it's necessarily a creature, right, but it's just some maybe side effect of elemental activity in the area. And your tome feels very opposed to the fiery nature, right, of that.
Yeah, and so I glance down at my book, which is strapped at my, to my belt, and I kind of raise my voice to everyone. Careful, there are elemental forces at play here.
I look at all the smoke and sort of implied volcanic. It was
No, it's and I try to point in the direction of the They were mists. They kind of look like mist rising out
Yeah.
from part of the water. You say?
Well, it's not actually the water. It's moving through the air. So basically, like a snake of vapor is like swimming through the air
Gotcha.
and like is coming sort of at the ship. Yeah.
Does
So
Sweetness see this?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I'm sort of picturing him sort of at the front of the ship, and a large snake.
I mean, snake is just more the movement that it, but it's 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 the size of a small cloud. That sort of.
Okay, I think there's certainly like Captain. It's maybe sort of pointing and like crouching down behind the I don't know the bow thing.
Yeah.
Well, what do you call that? Whatever is it? I'm sure there's a technical name for the edge. It's not an edge. It's like a lip, a fence, a barrier that keeps you from falling into the ocean at the front of the ship.
Oh, the gunnel.
That's what I meant. The
Yeah,
gunnel.
Of course.
Crouching
I'm sorry, how
behind
did we
the
not?
gunnel.
I can't believe we forgot.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm crouching behind the gunnel. Captain.
Yeah. Why don't someone give me a perception check?
Sure.
I would say I was the one just pointing. Okay, too late.
I perceive a 14.
All right. Ooh, that is not enough. So you're trying to like track this thing's movements, right? As you're sort of looking at it, but it's too erratic, right? It's
That's spicy.
and it sort of forms and reforms, right, into this different sort of swirling pattern. So we got one success, one failure so far. Someone give me a nature check.
I'd be happy to.
Whew. Yeah, this thing is again another just instance of the world trying to make fun of you because you think it's all material stuff. The world is like, I'm just gonna put out this
things that
elemental magic right in front of you just to make you mad.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm completely behind the gunnel now. Or shit. What was it?
And yeah, that's the gunnel, right? As the snake is closing in, it's about to careen with the ship. I would like a survival check, please.
From everybody? Or
No,
No,
next
Lauren
someone
will
else.
roll that.
All right. Anyone want to help?
I'll help.
Lauren. Oh boy. Even does anyone have reactions
Right, use
or
one of your bard things to give us a success. Can't you like retroactively use the thing if we fail a roll?
technically you would have to have assigned it first, but
Yeah.
I'll
Can you use like halfling luck or something?
I'll let it go for a story
I
point.
roll a 1.
Oh.
You can
So Zach, I'm checking the wording. I don't think this is how this is meant to be used. The willing property that my tome has, it says you may add 1d4 to an ability check, but I feel like it's supposed to be mine.
Yes,
Not
it's
someone
for you.
else's, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll let you have spent the bardic inspiration on the ship if you spend a story point.
Sure, I'll take that.
All right.
bartering, are we?
Yes.
Bard.
Well, it's like a flashback, right? It's like Bungo was like, oh, he did a shanty, right? Maybe for the crew, right? As you're heading in deeper into the Blazing Isles.
Right.
All right. So roll a d6. Someone.
Let's see how we do. Oh fuck. Wow.
It's enough.
Oh yay!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So luckily, Bungo's drumming. Did you do some drumming, or did you play your flute? Perhaps.
Yeah, definitely whipping out the new flute.
Mm.
And I will conjure up a little image as I'm playing my flute of you see just like a tiny version of what's this guy's name? I'm trying to scroll up. Corinus.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see like a little tiny Corinus, and he like climbs up Amarin's shoulder, and he's kind of like looking around. So just to help set a lighter tone here as we're exploring into the islands.
Yes. So Omarin, as this snake of mist and hot vapor is closing and closing and closing, this little figure of Corina sitting on your shoulder just gives you just a sudden moment of pause, and you realize, no, not reacting in the situation would be best.
Go with the flow.
Exactly.
So we say it is Amaran says this is a wonderful part of the nature of these isles. Do not panic, stay still, and it will pass.
Aye, Captain.
And Hal's like, oh my gosh, I hate this trip already. Why can't I be a smuggler again? Simple life.
Oh, he already wants to go back to Black Rift. See this?
Yeah, too bad we didn't.
No, he wasn't a smuggler for Black Rift. He was a smuggler on his own.
Even still, still wants to quit.
Hey, he's already stressed enough having to work with the undead.
Fair.
You know who I don't think would have been bothered by the undead?
Sindri of the Stargazer.
Don't forget, you do have the sending stone that you can
Yes, we
communicate
can talk
with
to him.
Sendrel once per day, if anyone feels like it.
Hi, just checking in. How are things back in Greyhaven,
Yeah.
You only
Are
have
you
25
still
words.
crazy? Okay.
All right, so with Omarin's orders to just let it pass, right? Let the vapor elemental energy just do its thing, and yes, it flows through your sails. Seems to be almost playing with them, with the canvas. You do see it does get a little scorched in some places, but not enough to cause any real damage. And then the spirit continues snaking its way on by. And so you've succeeded in the crew sailing check yet again, allowing you to penetrate deeper into the islands. And so you've now made it roughly here, I'd say. So you see there's this sort of like these two much larger islands and then a smaller island sitting in between them, creating like two, small straits passing through. And now Bungo, you look down at the compass, and its needle has slowly been turning, though you maybe took your eyes off of it during the elemental business.
Yeah.
And you now see it pointed towards that island to the not westernmost, well, you can't quite tell, but it's pointed at one of these two islands here.
Sure. Well, it looks like we're almost there. We probably could have come around the island, but I guess we didn't know that at the time. But
well, again,
yeah.
It would have taken a lot longer.
True.
So you now have been
track, guys.
Yeah, you've been sailing through the Blazing Isles for about 4 hours now. So it's probably getting on 6 or 7 o'clock. Though now with the more ash and smoke in the air, right? The sunlight is more muted and orange.
Can we see the volcano? Like, are there multiple volcanoes around
Yes.
I mean, I'm sort of picturing these are like the Hawaiian Isles. It's just like
It's
out of
but
the
it's
ocean.
more active volcanoes and more clustered islands. So yeah,
Okay.
you could tell it's a small, like, volcanic ring has formed these islands. So there are multiple
Have we
plumes of
sort of
smoke.
seen, have we seen sort of like beaches and stuff where we might, go inland, or has it mostly been like sort of seemingly pretty precipitous, inhospitable?
Mostly, yeah, right. Because these are volcanic formed islands. Yeah, there's not very many beaches. Because it's more cliff formations, as well as, not a lot of. You got a lot of rocks in the water, right? You're noticing signs of reef farther down. Luckily, your ship is pretty low on the draw. So you don't, if it was a larger galleon or something, right, they would have a problem coming through.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, you can see also the oceans are filled with life, right? Fish in all sorts of color.
Perhaps Sweetness
Coral.
drops in. Again, this is mostly just flavor stuff. Drops in a net, pulls up some things, and it's just, looking at them and, Darwin-esque drawing things, and, maybe has a little magnifying glass.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got, do you have a special area in your, quarters or whatever that you, keep all your samples?
Well, so I think I had imagined that on Captain Ramius's ship that I sort of had my own quarters.
Yeah.
Just as the surgeon, where I would do surgery and collect stuff for science and stuff like that. That doesn't seem to be the case on this, and maybe it's a point of contention on the ship that I'm sort of continually acquiring and accumulating things. Various, specimens and stuff, or maybe tacked up or in places they shouldn't be on other people's bunks. Maybe there's some sprawl, just because there's not sort of a specific space for him.
Sure.
Ship.
And that's why his stuff was more precipitously, careening over during the hard maneuvering. Yeah, because it's still sort of not all set up or skewed around. Cool. So yeah, the sun, you can tell, right? It's getting a little lower. It's not going to set fully for maybe another hour. But the sky is definitely this just orange glow, maybe from the volcanic activity, but also from the sun filtering through the ash.
We definitely need to find a cove to anchor in for the night.
Okay.
What's a cove?
Is Sweetness being...
Well, I actually, no, Blake is more... Is there a difference between, say, a cove and a bay and a...
Size.
Size?
Size.
Okay, so cove is just like a small bay?
Like a pond and a lake.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
Well, bays tend to be more protected than coves do, but...
Yeah, and I think Sweetness would probably know that, but I don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that would have been my inference.
All right. So, well, you'll have to basically to search around, or how do you want to search? Do you just want to do the ship around? Almarin, you have your bird, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Ooh, send your bird about.
I don't think my bird lasts that long, right?
It's basically the summon familiar spell. So it's your familiar now. I think that's how it works.
Oh, cool. I'll hit the button.
To cast the find familiar spell. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So I mean,
spell.
The familiar can only really talk to me if it's in with 100 feet, but presumably I'll go stand on top of the crow's nest on top of the yards and have it sort of fly away and then come back and do a bit of scouting for us for a good place to spend the night. Good protected place to spend the night.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Cool. So I'll give you advantage on a survival check.
Nice. There we go.
Excellent.
There we
Who
go.
needs it?
Yeah. Really. So yeah, you're able to send your bird out right. It doesn't take it too long to find a spot. There does seem to be on this northern island. If you want to go there if you want to find some place to anchor as soon as possible, you could try to press on for a little bit longer.
No, we'll take the safe bet. But also, Zach, I'm technically not supposed to do this. The familiar is fans of beast, and the familiar disappears after a number of hours to have your journey.
Oh, okay. So it lasts as long as the wild shape would. Gotcha. All right.
He just keeps casting it. Keep casting it.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it back during a short rest, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
We'll find the easy cove. We'll make sure we're properly anchored.
So you head there, but now I'm gonna call for a crew, not a crew sailing check, but a check by the crew to sail through these more treacherous waters.
Our first anchor.
Yeah,
I believe.
that is true. So either Kylum ordering sort of the normal crew guys, or Varanus. Actually, how about one from each of you?
Sure.
Give me a crew sailing check. So the current bonus of both of your crews is Kylum's is +5, because he inspired the crew with his representation and getting down and working in every nook and cranny of the ship. And Varanus, your crew's bonus is +4.
Okay.
So yeah, just each of you roll a check. That bonus.
Yes.
All right. I'm not sure I understand it right. Is it a certain kind of check or just a D20 plus that?
It's a D20 plus that.
Okay.
Basically, it's a crew
That makes sense. Yeah.
a check to sail the ship.
So make sure you weren't looking for like, oh, it's intelligence.
Sure.
Or,
Absolutely.
Well, good job, us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
Boy,
are
we're good at
getting
the sailing thing.
Yeah, you guys are getting really, really good. Very impressive. So yes,
Crews
you're
starting to get along a little.
able to navigate through some of the more, what do you call them? Shallow reefs on your way towards this cove, and you do see under the water wrecks of other ships, and the dark form of some aquatic predator lurking.
Delightful.
But it slides under your vessel as you make it your way all the way into the cove and find a perfect, really primo spot to anchor for the evening.
Ready to anchor, Captain.
Make it so. Number one.
Anchors away!
The opposite of take us away. Take us...
Raise them right.
Oh. But I mean away from the seafloor!
Still opposite.
Towards the seafloor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
What do you say instead of the anchor's home? The anchor's on vacation?
Drop anchor.
Or the anchor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
drop anchor!
Yeah.
Bungo, you're hitting the, what do you call it? The capstan, where where the anchor winds up. You sort of hit the thing and it goes, starts spinning around, and you get caught for a little bit, but it just spins you around. You have a little fun, little ride. And how about we take a short 5-minute break for the moment?
Sure.
Alright, let's
Cool.
do it.
All right. See you all in a few minutes.
All right. I'm going to go water the garden.
And here we are again.
lost
Yeah, hopefully, maybe a little bit. So yes, you've dropped anchor at in a nice protected cove nestled in one of the next to the big islands of this archipelago. And yeah, suddenly, right, the winds that have been coming in the sea or from the outer sea, right, have ceased, right, because you're now in this nice protected space, and the rolling of the waves that has been accompanying you the past week now has been transformed into this cacophony of bird song. Coming out from.
Pretty?
Oh yeah, well it's pretty, but also kind of chaotic.
Well, I don't know if we have any, tear off some pieces of rag and put that in my ear while I'm trying to sleep.
Oh, it's not disturbingly loud, but it's like your whole soundscape has now changed, right, from the past week of being on the open ocean. Everything feels so different, right? And now the ship isn't rocking as much beneath you. It's that. It is probably the sun is setting beyond the western peaks.
Do we think we want to try and go on shore and like make camp tonight, or do we just want to hang out here and go in the morning?
I would worry about the local drow population. I do think we should keep a watch, on the ship and probably stay on the ship.
It wouldn't be a horrible idea to do a quick little sort of jaunt to shore to see if there's any like signs of life around.
Yeah, I think we should check out like really quick immediately around just in case we might need to pack up and leave depending on what's immediately here.
Right.
I mean,
that's a good idea.
I guess you could send the bird again.
That's what I was gonna say. Send the bird.
Well, I mean, it could just be like me and like one other person.
Hang on, we have these fine rowboats that I'm in charge of.
I want to use them.
I'll hop in a
fresh fruit.
I'd hop in a rowboat with you if you want to go
so whoever wants to come over, we'll rowboat over, I think, and do a little exploration.
Well, 3 of us can go row our boat.
Bungo, do you have like special oars?
Well, like halfling-sized oars?
Yeah, like really tiny ones, like little canoe paddles.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, that's adorable.
I actually have longer oars because I'm sitting in the middle and I need them to reach like farther in. So I can row them. Yeah. But just FYI, Bungo is like kind of ripped. I have a strength of 15.
Yeah, he is.
So like,
All
right. Mine is
muscle hamster.
That's
mine is 14.
Yeah.
You guys are both stronger than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to basically hop in the rowboat.
Varanus is in.
All right. Everyone needs. You never know when you're going to need a doctor.
I mean, on the map.
I think he literally move your token is what he's getting at.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I thought we were narrative.
Well, I mean, I'm throwing it up just for the audience too.
Something bad's gonna happen.
Right.
Once every hour or so, you gotta click. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you leaving the Phantom crew aboard the main ship?
Yes.
I feel like yes. Exactly. It's just to help the ship, whatever the ship needs in the meantime.
All right.
Our goal is to not make this like a whole thing. We're not trying to be like, let's survey the whole island. It's just be like, are we landed someplace cool?
Sweetness has like all of his equipment. He's got...
Well, now that the sun, by the time you get the rowboat down and everything, the sun has set. But you notice there's still dim light bathes the entire area due to to the magma glow. In fact, this island in particular has the biggest looking volcano, as well as these blue and green swirls of aurora amidst the sort of ashy sky.
Great.
So at
With
least
any,
you know,
imminent
normal.
lava flows cascading into the ocean in close proximity, right?
No, that would be a little obvious.
What does the cove, I mean, is is it sort of like a shallow cove and then, mountains sort of, shortly, or, is it flat for a little while? Is it?
The cove is actually pretty sheer kind of cliffs, basically, more or less 20-foot bluffs that the sea is washing against.
Okay.
There's again not a lot of beaches to these islands, due to the continuous volcanic activity. But you can see not far beyond the edge of the cliffs is the jungle starts. So this looks like a more older part of the island that hasn't seen lava flow in a while, because the jungle is so thick and dense here.
Sweetness is definitely on his guard. I mean, again, it's like we know that this is a drow territory, and it's becoming dark, and we're venturing ashore.
All right. So with 4 of you,
I make sure that the Phantom crew knows to, defend the ship if anything, goes down. Hopefully not.
They clap their chests to you.
Yep.
And they go about, doing their thing. And so, you guys start rowing out. The current is pretty. There still is somewhat of a current, so you guys are going to need to make some athletics checks, or one of you make a water vehicles check.
Pretty good at both. Let's see. I'm proficient in water vehicles.
Water vehicles. It would be. Well, it depends what you want to do. I'd assign a ability score to it.
Well, if I could use, say, my intelligence, that would put me at +5.
Sure, why not? For more navigation, right?
Yes.
Looking at the best place to land. Cool. Bungo sweetness.
14.
All right. Yeah, that's you're navigating towards a good direction there.
I'm sorry, what was the check?
It's either athletics or convince me of something else.
14 athletics.
Excellent.
Good.
Okay, 10. Flat 10.
Aye.
15.
That's okay. The 3 of you, sweetness is a little, it's a little rocky for him because he's weighed down by all his scientific gear, and so he's not pulling as best he could. But the rest of you get the boat up to one of the cliff sides. The one that looked like it would be shortest and easiest to get up, and you're able to attach like grappling hooks to the mooring lines, right? And you sort of toss those up onto the cliffs and are able to sort of hoist the rowboat from its own sort of pulleys or not, yeah, from its own pulley system, right, and move it partway up the cliff. So that you're able to then just, surmount the cliff fairly easily, and you stand, 20 feet off the water, right? You see the cerulean wind docked very, very nicely out there on the water. And yeah, the sound of the jungle, right, hits you much harder now that you're, 15 feet away from just the edge of thick, leafy vegetation. Flowers of all sorts still open, though you can tell some have closed now that it's nighttime. The buzz of insects in the background is pervasive, but there's also the smell of richness, of just like rich soil and life.
So is the idea here that we're just doing a bit of reconnaissance around the cove to see
I
what
think so.
Yeah.
we immediately see? Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you make me? What kind of checks do you want to make? Stealth. Trying to be stealthy.
I guess before any checks,
Perception.
I will just use an ability that I have, which is, of course, the old classic Divine Sense.
Hey,
Nice.
gotta
See if
have
there's
those
any
daily
evil.
uses.
Very good.
Checking for celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet. Just checking.
No, nothing.
All right. All right.
Good call, though.
Yeah.
I guess I'll follow that up with just perception. It really is just a matter of me just like really trying to figure out where we are in relation to the sort of overall geography of the island that we're on, and also, do we see anything that jumps out? Is any sign of civilization? It's probably not like a insight investigation-y, like it's not like looking for footprints. It's more of big picture, like off in
Right.
the distance. Is there fires? Are there
Mm-hmm.
built structures? Anything like that would be telltale signs of something that's like, oh, over there there's like an encampment, or over
Sure.
here there's a dock or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Mm.
9.
You feel these as you're trying to survey things, your eyes are they keep like blinking, like almost like you're getting ultraviolet light shined into your eyes or something from what you guess from this aurora effect. So it's just you're not able to focus.
Yeah.
I'm
just like, I can't believe like the drow were able to, or the dark elves were able to live here, right? Like how do they stay in a place like this?
Yeah, and so it looks like the cove, is more or less maybe like part of the coast collapsed maybe at one point, which formed this cove, right? So the ground, there was like a tremor or something, right? And the ground fell away, so leaving all these clear sheer cliffs. And the jungle beyond. So you at least don't see any signs of civilization as far as that. As far as the cove goes.
Matt, are we gonna venture around the cove sort of as a group?
Well, that's what I'm sort of thinking you're doing, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you're
think I would
on the
also be-
move, doing
Yeah,
stuff.
trying to look for any, I don't know, thing that might look like it's either a game trail or some sort of passage through the undergrowth. And if we find one, I think Sweetness might be sort of investigating for footprints or other signs of humanoid passage versus quadrupeds and
Sure.
other I don't know, ruminid
Okay.
and stuff like that.
I'd say a survival check then.
Okay.
Lovely.
Oh God.
Unfortunately,
Dim. We're not used to this light.
it's but it's also that this environment is foreign to you. You don't know if you'd recognize a game trail in a jungle setting. Because it's such a different environment, right? There aren't large game that move around in a jungle as much. Yep, and
Well, guys, I don't see anything.
anyone else? Bungo. Any spells? You've got the compass too. It's got its own.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely pulling the compass out.
Yeah, that might be a good thing to figure
I do
out
a little
right now.
experimentation here. Like, if I'm like standing in one place, can I sort of like sweep the island? Can I get an idea? If, like, is it on this side or this side?
You'd sort of basically have to watch it as you walk, right? As you're moving. Because your minimal movements of just moving it around your body don't change the needle's facing.
Sure, I guess that makes sense.
So it means that it's farther away, right?
Yeah.
It's too far away for those small movements to make a difference.
Right.
But yeah, still pointing towards the southwest.
This wouldn't be for today, but I mean, like, do we think that maybe getting to some high ground or something and sort of surveying around and seeing if we can see a crater, or I thought if we're looking for the star, that just try to orient ourselves visually.
That sounds good.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
But I think not tonight. Yeah, I mean, at least with my check, I'm imagining that once we have sort of made our round of the cove, that Sweetness is at least sufficiently convinced, or maybe just sort of giving it, like, it's getting so dark that it looks like this is where we're going to have to stay, and I think Sweetness is like I can't see any immediate concerns.
Mercury retrograde.
Is there like a spire or like a rocky like outcropping where I could get a better view of the surrounding land?
Sorry, who's that question for?
Yeah, question for you. Is there like a rocky outcropping or spire or something where I could get a better view of the surrounding land?
Well, no, the closest thing, well, I'd say, yeah, you could reach it, but it's
a story point.
Ooh.
I like the narrative use of the story point.
Absolutely.
How many of these do we have left?
One.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Sure. Yeah. It's actually not a spire. It's actually a very, very large mangrove type tree. So you climb up sort of through its root system, and then but it's massive, right? It's huge, right? And so you climb up through its root system, and you get to the trunk, and you're able to go a little higher, right? And now you can feel it swaying a little bit because you're. I'd say you get. Well, what's going to be the primary thing you're doing with your check? I guess is the perception.
What I was hoping was that if I got to a really tall spot and I could get some idea of the surrounding landscape, and then I look with the compass, if I could see like, oh, there's like a mountain over that direction, or like, oh, there's a valley that this points towards, like, just to get like a better idea of where we might want to head off in the morning, so we have like a better direction to trudge off in, or if I see like. Since it's getting dark, maybe I spot a campfire or something. Like, just,
Sure. Well, I guess what I'm saying is,
You don't see shit.
Well, he still hasn't done a roll, but again, from the readings you took earlier when you had made it to the center of the sort of the isles, that the compass is pointing to islands, not this one, right?
Okay.
Right. It's other islands are yeah. That's why I asked if you wanted to push closer to the
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Let's be ready for a drow fight. Ambush in the night.
I don't see any signs of habitation or like anything that's been like.
Well, again, yeah, make me the check you want. So
Okay.
I think
It'll
this
just
would
be a
be
perception check, I think.
sure.
Maybe I can have advantage for being so high up.
Sure. But at the same time, everything's in dim light. So you get a -5 on the roll.
Owie.
What if I do my dancing? Could I make some dancing lights, or do I need that? Would not be enough light.
Well, again, you would have to send them like miles around to look at stuff.
Okay. All right, I will eat the -5, and we'll see how it goes.
But do have advantage, so.
Right. So this does not include the minus.
Oh,
I
got a 0.
Ow.
You got a 0.
Whatever it is about this place, it doesn't like being seen. This place is mysterious.
The Blazing Isles tries to hide its mysteries from us.
Bungo, what do you see up there?
Man, we ain't found shit.
Rolling a 0.
Well, Varanus.
Well, I guess here's where my mind is maybe I was thinking I have a pretty good nature skill. Perhaps I could try and maybe study what might be. We can tell where from here we would go, in what direction we would go with the compass. Maybe if there's a good path, a better way for the big ship to then go.
Okay, you want to look for a route.
Go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a good route or the start of one, or just basically that.
Well, that could be like a navigation check if you have proficiency with navigator's tools.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
So I'd say, but it's also going to be based on your wisdom, because that's the sort of you're using perception to.
Yes.
To plot this course, right? You're looking, and it's the dim light and all of that, right?
Okay.
Baron, if you mess this up, we're gonna complain that we didn't take Sendral.
I'll give it a try, and.
Was that an inspiration, Bungo?
You know what? Fuck it. Sure, I haven't used any this session. Have an inspiration.
It felt pretty natural, didn't it?
Yeah.
So what do I'd add a D6 to this? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
See. So, I don't know if it would be much use, but I do have my willing quality from my tome. I could add a D4 to that, and that could possibly. Oh, you know what? This isn't a super high stakes thing. I guess we could always figure out a route later. I will actually keep. I won't use it on this. Yeah.
So yeah, what? The Blazing Isles keep hiding their secrets. You don't know if it's the weird steam emissions, right, that might be coming from under the water, but it's hard for you to tell anything about the movements of the currents or whatever. You do sort of guess that going the southerly route, if you wanted to go around this larger island. Oh, sorry, I'm pointing on a map. You guys aren't.
The southern approach, essentially.
Yes, of course. The southern approach will be sort of easiest.
You know something that I feel like we should be thinking about too. We know that a lead was being pursued here for Scarlet Cape's treasure by Sherrock. I wonder, has anything, or perhaps Magnus, or has anything caught our eye? I guess it honestly hasn't. Anything related to that?
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, yeah, the details of Sherrock's expedition were so scant. you know, because he wasn't going to announce, right, oh, I'm going treasure hunting, because that's a way to get, you know, followed and killed.
Yeah, right.
And your treasure stolen, right? It's a Balakian move. Belloc.
Got you.
Um,
Balakian.
so yeah, but on the other hand, since you don't know whether it's one of these two large islands in the southwest, if you could maybe try to find a landing spot on the first island, scout that island there, you know, maybe to try and get a bearing with the compass that, you know, at that point.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Meanwhile, on the ship.
Oh, what havoc.
I like how we didn't we spot a lurking sea monster?
Oh yeah, yeah. But it seemed chill.
And then we're just like, all
Not
right,
well,
later.
not a sea you know, a lot.
The predator.
You know, could be a shark. Could be.
Okay.
It's just hard to tell.
Yeah, not
right?
like a kraken.
Not a kraken.
I mean, don't go for a swim or anything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Marin, you're on the boat with Hal and the Phantom crew. They sort of are just milling around because they're in their more coherent form. So they would be able to act if needed. And you feel a bump on the ship, right? Your very, very attuned feet feel the hull get bumped.
Can I determine from which portion of the ship it's coming from?
Yeah, why don't you make me a perception check with disadvantage?
That's fair.
Unless you have some way of giving yourself, you know, a tremor sense or something like that.
No, this is just an immediate, like, thump. Where did that come from?
Boring.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, but it seems like it came from more under the ship.
Okay, so Amarin is going to, like, you know, I would imagine the boarding ladder is probably not still down from when we let the ship go, but he's gonna roll that down. He's gonna sort of like crawl down the ladder and like literally stick his head in the water and like look around and see what he can see.
All right. Yeah, so although it is dark, your elven eyes are able to see the shades of gray, though they are muddled again because the warm currents of steam vents and stuff are creating, you know, muddling the sort of infravision of your eyes. And so why don't you make me a perception check again?
I will do that. What do my elf eyes see?
Something not good.
Oh no.
Like how bad?
Some sort of multi-armed creature, maybe 50 feet long, has attached itself with, you know, these like legs or something to the underside of the cerulean wind.
Can I recognize what it is?
It looks like almost some sort of squid, but it's not like it has tentacles. It's more like it has legs. It's a weird kind of creature. Make me a nature check.
We'll see see what he can do with some nature.
Captain, what's going on down there? Oh, yeah, you definitely don't recognize. This is a sea creature unfamiliar to you.
Interesting. Well, the sea is very large, and I am but one elf.
Yes. However, also with that perception check, you see a darker silhouette, like slowly climbing on the underside of your ship, heading toward surface sort
God,
of
it's a
further
fucking
down.
spider. It's a sea spider.
But well, it
Growl.
looks humanoid, sorta. It looks like a.
Oh no, it could be a drider.
No, it's not spider-like. It looks like it has four limbs.
It's a
But it's hard.
spider.
It's hard to tell what
It's
kind
a
of
squid rider.
So this
creature it is.
do look like coming up on a particular part of the ship, right?
Yeah, it's looking more towards. It's crawling towards the bow, and that's more where the creature, the larger creature underneath, is attached to. So it looks like it's gonna crest the water. Now.
Okay, so Almarin pushes up and sort of does a very loud stage whisper and says, "Hal, get a hooded lantern. Scan the bow of the ship, near the gunnels, near the sides."
Aye, aye. And he picks up one of the lanterns and turns the knob and shines a light, and
to his horror,
yes, climbing slowly over the railing. Emerges a strange humanoid creature. It looks like a person has grown coral has coral growing out of them, right? And little sea creatures and suckers, sort of, like some of the guys in the Pirates of the Caribbean ones, right? Davy Jones's crew. Except, yeah, it looks like more uniformly like coral with all these growths on it. And it sort of just is staring, almost dead staring, standing pretty still, looking over the ship, and then it turns towards Hal, shining the lantern, and lets out a watery, gurgly wail.
Is it loud enough for the crew on the shore to hear it?
yeah, I was gonna
No.
say, do we hear?
It is not. And we will roll initiative.
Shit.
We want.
Shall
will
I-
we?
Yeah, everyone.
Shall I row for the Phantom crew?
Sure. Or does it
Select your
just
token.
go after you? Yeah, don't forget to select your token.
Okay, so I'll just select me, and then that way, if I enter, we can all just be together. Let me just make sure I select myself.
Where am I? There we go.
Did mine go through?
Jesus.
Oh gosh, 8.
Yeah,
There's a
it's not.
7.
Well, you guys on the shore, that makes sense.
Yeah, I just it was
Yeah.
one
Hey,
there
look at
we
that.
go.
bummer of the rolls.
There we go. Suck it, symbiotic reaver.
And Hal Hackshaw also has to roll. Characters, crew, Hal. Hi, Hal. Well, percolate. Come on, guys. Did it not count them?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it
Ah,
tabulate either.
Well, that means everyone gets a reroll.
There.
Oh,
wait, no. There it is.
It all just appeared.
All right. Well, he got a 2. Moves down. And did everyone get in? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't see me.
Varanus, or the Phantom Crew.
I thought I did select my token.
Well, you can reroll.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see here. Let me make sure. It's my token on the boat, right?
Yeah,
This guy right here? That's
I think so.
what I had before. All right, let's try again, I guess. Well,
Nice. And all right. So, Bungo, what's your passive perception is not great. But because you're in the tree, you notice the sudden sort of sweeping and flashing of light on board the Cerulean Wind. You have a little more high of an angle.
Like, do I see like
Well, you see how Hackshaw. Well, you don't know because you don't have that fine detail. But you see, when Hal Hackshaw took off the lantern, right, and is changing with it, and yeah.
he like bardishly, luckishly interprets it as a warning signal.
guys? I think something might be happening back on the boat. I start sliding down the tree. We might want to head back.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, we all just start like sprinting back to the ship.
All right. So everyone going on the boat, make me a Constitution-based athletics check to endure this row. This very has to be as trying to get back to the ship as fast as possible. This strong row, or
I don't have any bonus to athletics, so I'm just gonna make a Constitution check.
All right.
Yeah, and mine would come out the same as if I used strength.
God.
So. Oh, what is going on here?
I'm hoping I'm getting all my bad rolls out while.
Yeah, you've had some roughies.
Looks like we're taking some exhaustion, boys.
Well.
Wow. Yeah.
Hopefully I don't.
I think you're.
Varanus, you're the only one. You feel like you're pulling all the weight of the rowboat, unfortunately.
Yes.
But your determination and the fact that you're
I'm
also
not trying to have this. Yeah.
Yeah, you're also picking up some magical sense, feeling, crew, as you're getting closer to the ship, that something is going down.
Yeah. I'm just like, something's wrong, and I'm just like freaking going at it. Yeah.
But you will not arrive for 2 rounds of action on the ship.
Oh God.
Interesting.
Because only one of you succeeded.
Well, I have the crew back there, I think.
But of course, you might be able to do things at range, so forth. All right.
Right.
So, Kylum. Oh, I guess you're next. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm on the rowboat, clearly like stuck there, rowing as hard as I can. I started to get closer, and I see. I suppose I'm starting to get a sense of like this creature is on the ship. But I need to figure out how to get closer. If you were to say like maybe how many feet away we are.
Sure. Right now, you're probably you're 100 feet away by now. So you've done most of the row, and you're closing in.
Okay.
Sure. So I guess if I were to like walk on the water, it might be faster. It's kind of the same speed. It kind of feels like.
But you could dash.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like,
walk on
I could
water.
dash. Anybody can, briefly.
One step.
Yeah. This whole wave runner thing, we weren't joking around.
Yeah, I guess what I will do is I will use my channel divinity to summon that little bubbly of water again that you know, when earlier in this session you guys saw that when the Fey god thing was talking to me, it ended with like a water bubble kind of coming out of the ocean and coming circling around me, and I whip my sword around in a semicircle, and again the water spins up out of the sea and comes up and turns into a bubble, which is also now orbiting around me, and it grants me certain effects, as it is a thing called a wave guardian. One of them is I can walk on water, which I immediately jump off the rowboat.
And the rowboat slows down.
Right, and at first, I'm just running inside it, but I'm clearly starting to pick up steam.
Yeah.
Hopefully
For a
next
second,
round.
yeah.
I think Varanus is just like, well, that'll make my job easier. And have one less person to.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, Kyle, you'll definitely be able to fight during
That's sick, man.
next
It's a
round.
cool power.
Yeah,
well,
that's it for me.
You can print the whole thing for any Twitch watchers to see. This is part of the custom class.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here,
one.
so
It's long. Yeah.
you can read that while people take their turns.
Bungo in the
Alright.
in the rowboat.
Did we skip me? I think I had.
No,
18.
sorry. I think I thought Bungo was at the top and didn't get to you two. So never mind. Bungo had he jumped ahead because he saw the thing. So Omarin, back to the ship.
Should the crew go or?
Oh right. They're after your turn?
Or Kylam had 19. I think I have 18.
Right. I got the order messed up. So
No, that's okay.
everyone on the craft except Sweetness has gone. So I guess Sweetness, yeah. What do you do at this distance?
I will apply myself to the oars, realizing that yeah, we need to get to the ship.
Sure.
So yeah, what kind of role would you like?
Well,
another Constitution.
yes, but as Bungo called it, everyone aside from Varanus has one level of exhaustion from the hard row.
Great.
So you will have disadvantage on any ability checks. So this one, I'll say you can use strength or constitution for this. I don't know if it
I will
matters.
use Constitution.
Okay.
Not optimistic. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, still not great, but
It's
Lord in heaven.
enough. It's enough to keep you.
Okay.
To you're pulling, you're pulling your weight, right? That's.
But just my weight.
Yeah. All right, and so yes, now we go back to the ship. Omarin, you see this creature. Do you want to make some sort of check to try and size it up at all?
No, I mean, I'm gonna try to communicate with it. I'm gonna in Common and Elvish and say like, "Oh, good sir, we mean you no harm."
Good sir.
It doesn't look like it really comprehended you.
I'm gonna then ready an action should it advance like any closer to us. I will attempt to immobilize it with web because I don't actually know that this thing is harmful, right? Like it's just something that climbed out of the water and it seems like a fish, and like sometimes fish are just curious, right?
Very thoughtful of you.
It's like it's like a man man-shaped hunk of walking coral with some bits of flesh underneath, you can tell. But yeah.
Does it look like it's maybe a drowned sailor or something?
Right, it's hard to say. Yeah. Sure, but you're readying web. What about the crew, the Phantom crew? What are they?
Well, I think they basically like just move. Let's see, can I move them? Yeah. They just basically interpose themselves between, not trying to attack, but just basically like, or where's the captain?
Sure.
Are you right there? Yeah, they basically just like put themselves between the guy and the captain.
Cool. All right. Hal walks up sort of, to the stairs here. He readies a throwing axe. And he hangs up the lantern so it's, shining on that part of the ship. And he's like, just give the word, Captain. Just give it.
I say, hold. We'll see how this plays out. No need for unnecessary violence.
Well, this thing starts lumbering forward, and as it just sort of clunks down onto the lower part of the deck here, a piece of coral just like chunks off from it, but it looks like a spear, and he goes to throw it.
Ooh.
Uh,
He's clearly throwing a spear that will trigger our
Does it
reaction.
look like a friendly
Yes.
throw?
Yeah. That would trigger
Like
the
a toss?
reaction there.
So he actually throws
Right.
for you, Omarin, just FYI, because like it looks like he doesn't sort of see the Phantom crew, almost.
Could I
Let's-
have the crew? Yeah. I don't know if the crew gets reactions.
It would. I mean, they get one reaction, but they can only do the sort of normal things with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're not really provoking an opportunity.
No, not at this point.
Well, making a ranged attack adjacent to somebody, doesn't that?
Well, he's not adjacent to anyone.
Oh, I thought he had moved next to me. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So he throws at Omarin, and as he does so, you can see as he draws it back, you can see this almost like blackish film start to spread out over his now javelin made of coral. And yeah, he hucks it at Omarin, but the Phantom crew are in the way, so it targets them instead. Because he doesn't really seem to see the crew at all, or at least doesn't regard them. So, what's the crew's AC?
My crew's AC is 15.
All right. Hey, wow.
Yes.
So yeah,
They just
unfortunately,
carry it out of the air.
yeah,
I feel like.
because he wasn't aiming for them really, and he didn't expect it. They just knock this coral piece away, and it shatters right as it hits the ground. And
I love I love the image of it flying through the air, and then the ghosts are just barely visible and are just kind of
yeah, and their spirit surges forth, to protect the captain. And yeah, the weapon falls away and breaks, and it looks, looks taken aback at this thing, and pulls another one, just another sort of almost stalk of coral off its back, and now aims directly for the Phantom crew, and will spend a story point to do so.
Oh boy.
And so for those of you at home, this monster is a custom job that adapts some of the class features from my barbarian custom archetype that I made for this setting, which unfortunately no one chose to play, but it's getting some visibility here. All right, 16 is a hit
That
for
will hit.
10 piercing
Yes.
damage and 3 necrotic.
Interesting. Now, I am resistant to piercing damage.
Very nice.
Even though they're undead, I don't think I have a necrotic resistance here. So, I think I take 8, would seem to be it.
Sure. Yes, 5 and 3. Yep.
Yep. So
yeah,
okay.
you this time as the javelin screams in, it strikes one of your ancestors more squarely, and you can see its form start to waver and convulse a bit. But it doesn't completely disappear, and the coral javelin then sort of drops, and the creature just starts marching forward, and now draws what appears to be a great axe made of coral. And we are back to the top of
hang
the
on.
round.
Jack, we didn't get our
Oh,
reactions.
right. Your reactions. Sorry. I was too excited.
I know.
Very cool. I like the coral. Is that what the barbarian?
And maybe it doesn't move.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't move. We'll see. So yes, web, DC 14. What kind of save? Is it Dex? Yes.
It's a yes.
Strength. No.
Save strength to break free.
Right. Dex save to void. Okay. Well. No. It is webbed. And I think you should be able to find a token for that.
Oh, nice. If I can find a web token.
Yeah.
That's great.
Nice.
So, like, there.
Yeah, basically. Works for me.
So it's actually, these tokens kind of suck a little bit, because it covers a 20-foot square, so it's out sort of to the borders of the token, not just the
I think that's
Yeah,
that's
you can tell.
all right.
You might be able to hold control and size the token. I think it's if you hold control and shift or something, or maybe it's alt.
I can change. Yeah.
Make it a little bigger.
Yeah, it affects.
No big deal. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can do that.
Fairly
Yeah,
close.
it just overlaps with sort of other tokens a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
okay. All right. So yes, it is restrained in the web,
Beautiful.
and Hal, I guess, takes the throw. He's at long range, so he would have disadvantage, but the restrained condition negates that. So it's just a normal roll. 12. Unfortunately, yes, the axe just sort of clanks off the coral armor, taking a little chunk, but not harming this creature. Okay. Now back to the. Unless the Phantom Crew they didn't ready an action or anything, right? Maybe.
Well, I probably no, I didn't say I
Okay.
didn't, but yeah.
Alrighty, back to the top of the round. Kylum, you make it to the edge of the ship, but you still got to get aboard.
Yeah.
The music was perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
Get aboard.
Actually, since it is 8 o'clock here on the Pacific Coast, maybe the top of the round is a good place
Yeah.
to end.
Man, I had a big move that I was ready to do.
Well, write it
that
down.
off.
Write it down. You got 2 weeks to to plan it out
2
to
weeks to think
perfection.
about it. I am gonna write it down.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone out there. Hopefully this was this was a good
This
game.
Yeah, hope you all had fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you in two weeks. That would be, I guess, the 24th.
Yes, that is my birthday.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And you're
You
gonna
get
be
a story
spending
point.
us,
You get a
right?
free story point.
So yeah,
Excellent.
I look forward to seeing you all then.
All right. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Peace.